And I knew I'd forget something. There it is. Welcome to another episode of Den Excelsior. This is the live weekly podcast discussing the latest Marvel happenings across all media, but we've also been known to stray off topic from time to time. If it's superpowered, we'll discuss it here. This episode is being recorded on the evening of Friday, May 7th, 2021. My name is Dennis, and with me, I have a different distinguished nerd panel than usual, slightly. We do have one of our regulars who's going to be here helping me hold down the fort. It's Frank. Let me add that guy.
Yo. All right. With the button mishaps, it feels like Ricky is here.
It's the button mishaps, man.
He's with us in spirit.
You know what it is I got so happy that the intro was running. I was like, cool, we started right. And then I forgot that I had to add myself.
That song pumps you up.
Yeah, it does. It does get me pretty hyped. And so, as Frank mentioned, Ricky is out on vacation this week. He's normally the one flipping all the switches, and we give him a lot of crap for all the mishaps. But hey, man, it's a tough job. It's clearly something that hopefully I don't mess up too many more times. But we have a special guest to fill in so at least we have at least 3 people here to be nerdy all the time. Otherwise, it wouldn't be much of a panel. We got a good friend of the show who's been on a few times on this one, and we have spoken. Welcome back, Clarke.
Recasting for Ricky.
See,
right.
There it is.
I'm the Quicksilver of the team.
You're hired.
The Quicksilver. You're the Ralph Boner.
You're the Ralph Boner. Nice. Perfect.
Welcome, Ralph Boner.
Gotta increase my resume.
Yeah. No, I'm glad. We're glad to have you. Whenever we're in a pinch, we like to ask Clarke to come join us because he can fill the time with a lot of nerdiness.
I can nerd out with the best of them.
Yeah. I know we've talked to you like what about Marvel means to you, I think, before. So I don't want to rehash that if you don't want to. But what kind of Marvel or superhero stuff has been going on for you this week?
It's been really interesting seeing the different superhero shows. I know we'll talk a little bit about this later. But Jupiter Ascending just started, and watching Invincible. Jupiter's Legacy.
I wish
don't want to mix
these up.
On
no one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Now I remember what that was.
Is that one movie?
That's the movie
with Mila Kunis.
Mila
Kunis. That's right.
And the half fox. Channing Tatum or half wolf. Okay, hey, sorry, spoilers. All right, but no, to get back to the point, what I thought was interesting is that watching these new superhero teams, and we grew up on the Super Friends, and it's kind of funny that today all the superhero teams are trying their absolute hardest to not be the Super Friends, including the Super Friends. Even the Justice League is as opposite of being Super Friends as possible.
It's true.
I'm not saying we need, but I'm at one point I would kind of like one team to at least actually work together and be friends. I think that might be interesting.
Yeah,
wouldn't that be a dream?
It's just we're in the darkest timeline of superhero stories right now.
Yeah.
So everybody has decided that they cannot be Marvel, so they just try to be something else, which is just gore and darkness and grim stories. But you know what? We still watch them all because there's still nuggets of things that we like in them. So
Invincible is great. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Try convincing Frank of that.
Sweet.
I almost wrote a whole intro for Frank that he's still hasn't watched Invincible.
It's not for Frank.
It's not for you.
And any time I make a comment to something is good, that's not for you, Frank. You have to discover it on your own.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
It's true.
I can't be told. Well, I tried to watch it again. I tried to true to my word to Travis when he was on, I tried to watch episode 2, and it just looks like one of those 1990s Flash videos. And like I was all like, no, I can't. I just can't watch this.
Oh man, I know what you mean.
Now.
Okay. I think we have a lot of stuff to discuss today, so I just want to throw an outline out there to get everybody who is already tuned into us, an idea of what they're in for today. Have a fun show planned. We're excited to revisit the Marvel Classic Spider-Man 3 from 2007. But before we get into that, we've got some news and rumors to discuss, and a brief chat on a nerd topic of kind of all of our choosing, or at least mine and Frank's. As a reminder, this is also a chance for you to pick our brains with any Marvelous trivia or points of confusion that you may have. We'll be checking the comments throughout the show. I think Frank's on comment duty today. Yep. And for those of you that can't get enough of us, you can visit us at patreon.com/denxmedia immediately after this broadcast ends for our live post show, The Soapbox, where we wind down and talk about stuff we didn't get to on the first 1.5 hours. Okay, cool. With that out of the way, I can either go straight to the news, or we can check in with Frank to see what he's got going on this week. Frank, do you got anything cool going on?
Whatever's clever. What do I got going on? What have I been playing that's nerdy? I've just been playing God of War pretty much. I think God of War 2. So I don't really have anything. My life has been in like a kind of an ice age while I'm getting Kratos to get his revenge on Zeus for destroying Sparta. I'm really unclear about what the revenge is for, to be honest.
I quit playing Avengers about 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, I haven't seen you on either. I have not seen you on.
It upset me. It had they had an event that promised more exotic gear. Mm-hmm. I did the event. I was excited. I got like one piece of gear for every character. I think you were there, Frank, when I did that.
Yeah.
And then the next day I decided to go do the regular weekly thing I do to earn more gear. And it was bugged. It was so bugged that they removed it for the week. The Mega Hive. And then a week later, because the event was 12 days long, I think, or something like that. Mm-hmm. The second week, they left the Mega Hive still removed from the game. So like it's the bare minimum. It's like the only reason I ever play the game, and they can't even keep that thing running. And I was just like, you know what? That's it. I'm done. I'm just done.
The end.
It'll take a really, really big effort for them to get me to come back. So, oh well.
All
right.
It's
just a horrible example of a game eaten alive by bugs.
Yeah, it is. It's super buggy.
It's not on the CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk level of bugs, but it is pretty darn buggy.
It is.
It's like a death by 1,000 cuts, I think I would say.
Yeah. It really is, but that 1,000th cut was a big one for me because
that was the last cut.
It was the only reason I play the game was for that level. So
that was the Goro cut where your guts are falling out.
Yes.
Remember when you put a cartridge in and it worked?
Yeah.
Sometimes you had to blow on it though.
Yes.
Are you talking when I play my Switch and I put a cartridge in?
Just this world of the internet is great to have patches, but now that they don't have to finish games to release them.
Yeah.
Well, I would also argue Fester's Quest. That game, I could not finish that. I don't think you can finish that. I don't think a human being is meant to finish Fester's Quest.
Nope.
That thing is hard. That one and Ninja Turtles, the first one.
Oh.
I think this nostalgia tangent has definitely taken us in.
We got to watch out. Yeah.
Oh, and Frank's gone, and we lost him. And he's gone. Okay, well, that's going to be super awkward. Frank,
I'm out.
Frank, did you get upset?
No, what happened is I tried to click over to private chat, and I guess when you put sign up for free on, I clicked that on accident. It took me out of it. You want to sign in? I'm all like, no, I'm already in, buddy.
All right. Well, Frank, I'm about to run the news. So could you do me a favor and share that thing again so we're ready to go?
Yeah.
But we're pulling the curtain back, guys.
Oh, no. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Let's do the news, guys.
You know, when Ricky watches this, he's gonna feel so damn vindicated.
Well, I mean, that went smooth though. Look, the news is there.
Yeah, that's true. That's already better than Ricky.
Here's the news, guys. The first big news I think we have for the week, well, I think it was just the biggest one for Marvel, was they kind of did like in lieu of what would be Comic-Con hype event, they released a new trailer this week that was just a giant celebration of all of their movies of the past, and also a celebration of cinema in general, and then a look forward at everything that they're going to do.
It was beautiful.
It was really cool. I had some weird feelings about it, but Frank, you can take us through that, through them all. Like, so, you know, it kind of started with a, we go to escape. Oh my God, Frank, you did the thing that we said don't do. Yeah, no, it was showing you little things in there and then say, Frank, yeah.
Do you want to read it?
You can just use the left and right buttons. You don't have to have the mouse.
I can't get rid of the mouse. It won't go away.
We don't see it right now, so it's gone.
All right, nobody move. Nobody move.
But yes, basically they were just showing us like this messaging, like interspersed with between like lots of clips of, you know, famous clips of the show.
We go
they were saying,
to escape.
Thank you.
To get lost in a story. to
feel connected.
To share moments. We will remember
forever.
Yeah, and then they dump the moment that Captain America has gets, you know, the on your left message, and it.
But with the audience reaction, which I love watching those clips.
And it's cool, but like the thing that also weirded me out about this, as much as I loved all of that, it's really cool. I've read the stories about like how Chris Evans actually saw Endgame the first time in theaters because he wanted to see them react to that and stuff.
That's him right there.
Yeah, it is him.
It's him in front of the screen, just like
maybe, possibly. But the thing that weirded me out about this whole video, for the first part of it, was they were also over the audio was playing a speech of Stan Lee, like explaining the magic of going to the movies and things like that. The problem I had with it is, one, I kind of don't want to hear Marvel in marketing using Stan more now that he's gone. It's weird. Two, I recognize parts of the speech as being from a different speech about representation and diversity and things. And so I'm pretty sure they cut different things that Stan has said over the years to make this speech. And that's what made it really weird for me. When he was saying, that guy over there, that's your brother, that girl over there, that's your sister, that's from a totally other speech that he's made about the problems with bigotry and like why it's stupid and, you know, all
different soapbox.
Yeah, it was a different soapbox. And so I was a little uncomfortable to know that they've got some people in an editing room cutting and pasting different things to fulfill their agenda, which is to convince us that once this pandemic's, you know, in the clear, we need to get our butts back in seats to pay for their movies and stuff. I get that there's a business need for that. It's just, I don't know.
That was part of the speech, though. That's how the speech ended. He's all, and get your butts in the seats, true believers.
I mean, how did you guys feel about that? Like, the rest of the trailer aside, how did you feel about the Stan Lee part?
It was definitely a deliberate and calculated move to like tug on your heartstrings using Stan in general. Because I remember getting pretty worked up when he died, and you're like, just fucking calm down. Like you told me, like you said that. And
I agree with you that it's going to be more awkward. Like I think it'll be more awkward as time passes. Like to me, it hasn't been that long. And so it didn't shock me like to hear his voice, but I do agree that Franken speeching Stan should not be a regular thing going forward.
He's been gone for about 2 years now, right?
Yeah, but I mean, one of those 2 years was the lost year.
We're still in the lost years.
Yes, so
we're not out of the lost years.
We got to find the wheel to move the island of America.
Well,
So
in any case, like whether you didn't like that part or not, like leading up to the end game thing, after that they did start showing us stuff that was pretty cool because it started looking forward. Frank, you want to go over that with us?
Let's go.
Oh God. Oh man, he's Frank in charge. This was a bad move. So they started dropping release dates for every single movie that they have coming out for the next 2 or 3 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
Up to 2023.
It reminded me that I have to start eating right and getting some regular exercise so I can prolong my miserable life so I can enjoy these movies a little bit.
So we got Black Widow on July 9th, which we already knew. That'll be in theaters and on Disney Plus premiere at the same time. And then the next one we got, which we just got a trailer for 2 weeks ago, I think, was Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings, September 3rd, 2021.
Very excited. Yes.
And then,
it's going to be a busy year.
And then it got weird.
And then
we got
super excited.
Salma Hayek on a horse.
Yes.
And we're like, whoa. And they just started showing us scene or shot after shot from the Eternals, which has actually never received a trailer.
Nope.
First footage.
So this is technically the first trailer of the Eternals.
This one's from Wild Wild West, actually.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, she has way too many clothes on.
She was a little sparsely dressed in that one. The next one's Will Smith, and there he is.
Oh my God. It's just more Eternals on the beach, and then it's got a lot of them, and then I think they continue the taglines at some point.
There he is, Sebastian Stan's twin brother from Earth 2.
It's Rob Stark, isn't it?
Yes,
it is. Yeah.
King of the North. Rob Stark.
It's good to see him working. It's not good seeing Emily Clarke. I'm just kidding.
Emilia Clarke.
And then Chucky back there. That's pretty cool. I like the. I'm satisfied with the Chucky reboot, so that'll be pretty cool. And then Fake Wong back there also.
Fake Wong. Oh
man,
that's wrong. That's wrong, actually.
Yeah, that is wrong.
Yeah. That works on so many levels.
Keep going, Frank.
No man.
Angelina Jolie.
Jolie
with some fancy light sword.
Yep, she's got Peter Pan's sword. She took it from Rufio in combat. Eternals, November 5th.
November 5th, 2021.
2021.
Remember.
The 5th of November. Yeah.
And then they had some more shots of them, I think, with Buff Kumail in there.
That's cool.
And then they started dropping more dates on us after that.
Bam!
What the future brings.
There it is.
No, that's
still Eternals.
That's Eternals.
That's Gemma Chan.
There's Gemma Chan again. And Wong. Will be worth the wait. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, December 17th. That is movies. 4 movies this year. Right?
4 movies this year.
Oh, man, that is so nice.
I don't know if Black Widow's actually counting. Does that count? I mean, that should have come out last year.
Why does that not count? 3 of those movies should have come out.
Yeah.
Oh, all 3 of them should have?
All 3 of them were supposed to come out last year.
Then they all don't count. Screw it.
They
Lost year.
And this one's a Sony movie, so
I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Still MCU. Keep going, Frank.
Let's go. Multiverse of Madness.
Doctor Strange, March 25th, 2022.
Yep. I see Mephisto, the outline.
Probably.
Thor,
Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah.
May 6th, 2022.
2020.
My God, those are like 2 months apart, dude.
I know. I'll barely have recovered from Doctor Strange and all the Mephisto goodness.
And the COVID.
And then I'll have Mephisto again in Love and Thunder, and then Mephisto again in the Marvels.
The Marvels, the renaming of the Captain Marvel movie is November 11th, 2022.
Starring Zachary Levi.
Remember, November 11th.
Nope.
No. Marvel's is their new name for mutants. They're going to sneak it in.
No.
You think so? You think that's what they're going to do? I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't have a.
No,
they're not.
They have the symbol for Captain in the A. Yeah. And the S for Kamala.
And Monica's in the movie too. So there's 3 Marvels in it at least, right?
And also Major Goodner. It'll follow Major Goodner and her car. She's going to make a car for Mephisto to drive around in.
Oh man, I'm at the mercy of Frank with these buttons right now.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
February 17th, 2023.
February 17th, 2023. I got to do my sit-ups.
That one's gonna have Kang.
Yep.
Kang's in that one.
Kang.
Kang, who, when he takes off his mask, is Mephisto.
Oh, deep cut. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, May 5th, 2023.
When James Gunn comes back to Marvel.
James Gunn.
That is intense. There are a lot. These are a lot.
Ba-bam! And then Captain America 4 right there.
I think there's a different 4.
Light of day. There's Captain America 4. There's the shield. There's the shield. Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's a very Fantastic Four right there.
It's a very Fantastic Four in front of a shield.
Yeah.
Crossover.
They're doing it. You know, I read a fun, like Clarke, I think you shared a fun article about like Kevin Feige's going to tempt fate and do it one last time and see if he can prove that he is an all-powerful God.
A good Fantastic Four movie.
Was that a real article? Or?
No, it was it was from the Onion, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I thought it was. Yeah. I kind of thought it was real. I thought he was being like. I thought he was like playing around or whatever.
I put satire up there real so that you knew. But it was pretty funny. It's like, all right, if anybody can do it, I like the challenge. I like the challenge.
I mean, it was exciting. I was really happy to see all of these things. I mean, obviously, you know, I think there's a little bit more on the slides, but I don't think there's any more movies to show. You know,
see you at the movies.
Yeah, there it was. See you at the movies.
And I know heroes.
And I know that they were going to. They're still working on Blade. I read this week actually that Blade. They're still scripting it, and they're going to start. They're going to start production on Blade next September. Because they're still trying to get all their ducks in a row for that one. They don't have a director yet for it. And so the writer is still working on that one.
The internet really wanted UV bombs in this one, so they gotta work double time.
And then I don't know if this was interesting to anybody. I know Ricky had talked about it before, but there is the Arena of Heroes ESPN Marvel crossover took place earlier this week. I didn't watch it. I'm not a basketball fan, but it was a crossover where they did like Marvel overlays, and they had like a Marvel style game that like a meta game that took place over the Warriors Pelicans game. And you can go through those slides really quick, Frank, just to show like, you know, they had a whole like CG like UI thing going on here, like to show you. But apparently the superheroes were like drafting players, and it, you know, and then they had like a whole scoring system for those players and stuff. So it was each team, they picked 3 players to represent their superhero teams. And I don't know what they do with this afterwards, but you can feel free to click on more.
So it looks like Magneto played on the Warriors because he moved the bridge on X3, right? And then that's Falcon on the right. So that's perfect. That's very topical. Yeah. There's Falcon.
That's not Falcon.
Oh, it's Captain Marvel. Is that Captain Marvel? That is
Captain Marvel. That's Captain Marvel. Drafting Steph Curry. Yeah.
I don't know who Jack Kirby is.
Jack Kirby. We can go through this fast then if you want, Frank.
Wait. So Draymond is the Thing? Is the Thing arm? He has Thing arms?
I don't know. They
look icy
covers for all of these players. I think it's cute. I hope it wasn't a lot of work to do all this stuff, or I hope at least it paid off and they got more people on board.
Well, at least they didn't hire Rob Liefeld for the art.
That's fair. That guy has one visible foot in the picture.
Yeah, so maybe Liefeld finished the picture. Mm-hmm. They're all like, "Hey, draw this right foot." And he's all like, "Nah."
Yeah.
He's coming out of a portal. Wiggins coming out of a portal.
If anybody in the comments, even if you're not watching us live, if you happen to see this and you enjoyed it, please feel free to like write in on the comments later, just so that we can check in and see how this played out. Because as people that don't watch basketball, this wasn't something that really I was prepared to even try to engage in. Yep. But it is cool to see them trying. You know,
that's a lot of CG on his neck. I don't like that at all. Oh, what's that now?
It's Black Widow.
What Black Widow is that from?
I don't know. It's just.
I'm interested in this.
Yes.
That's cool. That looks awesome.
Now Frank's gonna go watch basketball.
Yes,
yeah, I gotta watch basketball.
There's nothing stealthier than lit up white lines on your outline.
Hey, what's that? What's that I see in that dark hallway? Is that Luke Skywalker? They'll think it's Luke Skywalker. They're like,
it's Tron cosplay.
Yeah, hide your Grogu's. Nice. Oh man, Kid Flash and the team up that everyone wanted. Kid Flash and Iron Man. Perfect.
And then there was the point system that each team had, and I didn't bother to look up how this played out. I don't know who won, but I think we all won, right? Because we got
we're all
crossovers. Yes, we're all winners.
The California Magnetos versus the Kansas City Captain Falcons. And
then next in news, it was a little leak photo of Miss Marvel on the set of her Disney Plus show. I only have the one photo, but I think it looks pretty damn accurate, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It doesn't. My only gripe is that she doesn't look like she made it, but it still looks pretty damn cool. I love the Converse.
That's fair.
That looks like the official one that she gets like after she gets like accepted or gets some sort of sponsor. Like she probably makes just like how Spider-Man has the sweatsuit version first, and then he gets the real one. This is the second.
This is the real one.
Yeah.
I don't know why they gave Miss Marvel a beret and a big red coat in this one, and I don't know why you didn't send her the picture more, but I mean, I still like it. I like the outfit. I think
I see what you did there, Frank.
Yes.
We're going to move on now. And then not to be outdone, Loki also got a new trailer this week. It wasn't really a trailer so much as it was just Tom Hiddleston showing up to talk about like all the other trailers always have like some crazy sense of importance and they want to mix things up. And so they basically just recorded Tom Hiddleston talking so that he could announce a new schedule update to the show.
That trailer cost $14 million.
There he is.
Yes. But the Loki show will be breaking the mold for Disney Plus and will not be airing on Fridays as originally intended. It's now going to be releasing on Wednesdays starting June 9th. So that does mean that everybody who likes to tune in to us to see our thoughts, that you have 2 full days to actually go and watch the show before we go and spoil the crap out of everything.
Yeah. And Tom Hiddleston was born the same year as me. That's crazy. He needs a better skin regimen, I think. I look a little younger.
Does he need a better skin regimen?
I might need a better skin regimen.
Yeah.
It's an interesting move. Like, I wonder if they realize, okay, people who are going to watch it are just going to watch it. So let's not worry about regular TV, but probably also just to, if we're going back to the theaters, they don't want to conflict with their own movies when they start coming out.
I never even thought of that. That's a good
really point.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
But also so they could dominate more days also.
Yeah.
Because when do their Disney shows release? On Fridays still or Thursdays?
Yeah. Friday at midnight.
Yeah. So they don't want to toe step on themselves too, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean they're Disney shows?
I'm sorry, they're Star Wars. They're Star Wars Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, that's right.
TV shows,
the Bad Batch came out today.
Bad Batch came out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there is no reason. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I love Disney Plus, but like, I love it on Fridays. That's pretty much it. Because like, there's no reason for me to come and watch it any other day of the week, because they drop everything on Friday. So this will at least get engagement up more than one day a week. You know what I mean? So it's a good move. I get it from like that perspective of like, you want to have your customer come back more frequently. Start taking your premium content and spread it out over the course of the 7 days.
Yeah.
You know, so it makes perfect sense. Yeah. I'm excited.
He's a smart little mouse.
Yeah. Do you know how many times we can watch it before our show? Man, we could watch it like 18 times now.
Only on Disney Plus.
Only on Disney Plus. I left that in there just so that people would.
What?
know.
You didn't see this coming.
And you didn't see this coming. Yeah. And in toy news, we have a new Marvel Legends MCU Quicksilver announced this week and sold out really quickly after he was announced, at least on Hasbro Plus, which is the first place that I went to get him. But he's up on other online retail stores. But yeah, it's kind of this whole like kind of makeup thing that they're doing this year. They're doing like an Infinity Saga wave, which is just a blanket statement for any movie that came out over the last 12 years. If we never gave you a figure for it, we're going to give you a figure. And so it's kind of weird, but like after 6 years of Age of Ultron being out of theaters, we finally get a toy of Quicksilver. Yeah.
Right there, Ralph Boner.
Yeah. I'll lay him right down on the ground with all the blood and stuff. It'll be great.
Yep, that'd be cool.
It is a bummer that he doesn't come with like an alternate head so that he can have Evan Peters.
Why is he running like that though with his 2 fingers? Is that how he ran in the movies?
Man, I have no idea.
It's aerodynamic.
You're making it weird.
But
yeah, he comes with little Ultron parts too and stuff. So
that's cool.
Just,
so he can replace his arm, make a Kano.
Yes, he can make a Kano.
Make a Jax.
Yeah.
He can make a $6 million man.
And then I figured for anybody who's tuning in because like they like getting toy news Marvel news from us, I decided to just compile like the week in Marvel Comics released. I think the comics come out on Wednesdays still pretty much, right?
Yep.
So here's a list. I mean, Frank, you can point out any ones of interest, but here's a list of all the new comics that came out for this week from Marvel. Any specific ones that you're interested in, Frank?
Always get Amazing Spider-Man. That's pretty much what I pared it down to. I am interested in the America Chavez one because I do like the character. Everything else I kind of skip. I got out of Hulk, but I'm hearing that it's getting pretty good. I don't know what's happening, but I know it's getting good. Whatever's happening in that.
Nice.
And Curse of the Man thing I was interested in also. All these stuff though, I can kind of wait for it to show up on Marvel Unlimited.
Well, good thing I have that one on here too.
Yep. Oh,
I
forgot.
Keep going, Frank. And
new
then
collections.
These are all the new trades that came out this week. If there was any like hardcover or trade paperback you're interested in.
None of these. That's a hard pass on all of them. I will wait for them to show up.
What about Clarke?
Oh,
nope. Like none of those. Like Venom, I already have.
You don't want the Venomnibus?
Vaguely covered. No.
I like it just because of.
I have the omnibus of the Amazing Spider-Man of McFarlane's run that with Michelin that includes Venom, so I'm good.
The McFarlane run. Oh, from the 300 on or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
So if that's just a redoing like Venom by Michelin and McFarlane Gallery Edition, I assume that's just a better version of those comics. But
you should probably go buy it to confirm.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm making a 360 on that. Good sales tactic there, Clarke. Playing aloof just so I can get it. He just got
Venmo'd by Marvel right now.
Yep.
And then for those of us who are into reading digitally, here's all the stuff that came out this week on Marvel Unlimited. There's your Amazing Spider-Man, but
you're
a few issues back. It's number 58.
Werewolf by Night, man. I'm super interested in reading that. I want to start from the beginning though. I'm going to go back and then
that's the one being written by Taboo, right?
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's cool. Black Eyed Peas. Cool. And then we do have some other non-Marvel news. Jupiter's Legacy hit Netflix today at the full first season. They call it Volume 1. I think I'm gonna be honest, it's a little ambitious of them to call it Volume 1 because I don't know if they're going to be a Volume 2. I checked out a couple episodes today based on a recommendation from a friend Travis. I did not like this show at all.
I saw the first one.
I didn't like it at all, and it's mostly because the best actors they have going in this show are Josh Duhamel and Leslie Bibb, and that is not a strong selling point, especially when you make the actors play 100-year-old characters. So they just don't have that gravitas, I mean, Josh's claim to fame is what the Transformers movies and marrying Fergie, like. And Leslie Bibb was the reporter that Iron Man hooked up with at the beginning of the movie in the first one.
Yep.
I don't know what else they've done, but this is based on Mark Miller's a Mark Miller graphic novel. I used to like Mark Miller like a lot. I used to really be into his stuff. I don't know. Have you guys read this one?
Have not. Nope. I've seen the Santa Claus though, from where this comes from, and it was all right. You know, Tim Allen was pretty good in the Santa Claus, and I think this is a worthy sequel.
Oh man, yeah.
The more action version.
Yes, more action.
As I said, I saw the first one, and it still has that same feel as The Boys and Invincible and that stuff, like where they're trying to be as non-super friendly as possible. What's interesting, I mean, it has some interesting moments of the time, because like when they were mortals is right when the stock market crashes in 1929, so they have a lot of flashbacks to them then and forward, but
which is just a fun time for superhero stories.
Yeah,
right? The 1920s, good old 1920s. Like
nothing happens.
I don't know. As I said, I've only seen the first episode, so I don't know the significance completely of that. But
they flash back every episode.
I don't like that many flashbacks.
Cool. We could see them on the island and their lives before they landed on the island. Perfect.
There is an island. There is an island also. So I don't know that you were probably joking, but there actually is.
They get their powers from a plug.
Yes. No, they get powers from an island.
They get powers from a polar bear.
Yes.
What's the premise of the show? That's one thing.
The premise of the show is basically there's a bunch of superheroes that are like a fake Justice League, who are all in charge of protecting the world, but at the same time they've chose to go by this archaic code that used to work back in the good old days, which is you just lock them up. You take the bad guys and you put them in jail. And that's what you do. You don't interfere with world affairs. You don't do anything of significant influence on the humans that you look after. I mean, they're humans too. But what's happened is, for some reason, even though there's not any real triggering, inciting moment in the show, they're kind of sitting around and talking and saying like, you know what? The world kind of sucks now. And I'm wondering if it's because of our code. And so they start questioning the code, and some of them are testing the waters to see if maybe this new world that we live in now that has mass shootings every day and corrupt corporations and all the all the crap that we're exposed to all the time on the news, all the news. What if they decided to take a little bit more control? That's the hypothesis posed at the end of the first episode, right? And so I don't know how much they're gonna fulfill that tease, but I honestly feel like everything about it is pretty shallow. Like, I think the problem I have with the show is that I didn't connect with a single one of those characters. Like, none of them were charming.
Santa Claus, yoked out Santa Claus.
None of them are charming.
Liza Minnelli.
I barely remember any of their names. And there's some like random ones they introduce that just die instantly, in a way similar to Invincible, but at least in Invincible, you got to like see them do cool things before they die. But in this show, they show up and they just die. And you're like, I don't even know. Am I supposed to care about that? Like, I don't, did you feel any connection to any of the characters, Clarke?
No. And like, you can see where they're trying to with the father and son dynamic, and then the daughter that doesn't want to have anything to do with them. But it's so cliche. Again, as I said, there's nothing about this show that felt new. There's something about it, like it felt new back probably when Mark Miller wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of Mark Miller's stories, right?
Yeah.
They are pretty dated.
They are very dated. Yeah. And which is why Marvel does a lot of updating to his stories whenever they're in charge of them, right?
Is Marvel in charge of this one?
No.
No.
This is actually a deal between Miller's own company and Netflix. They bought the rights to all of his comics from here on out.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Just
so
to farm him.
they wanted to have their own,
Yeah.
the boys and stuff like that, and Invincible and Disney Plus caliber stuff. But like, that's the other thing, man. The special effects are ghetto at times.
Mm-mm.
They are a little ghetto.
Like CW Arrow or.
Yep, that is
Mhm.
exactly.
Oh man,
They get CW-ish pretty quick.
I'd rather rewatch Sky High.
when. What code did they adopt? Is it the up, down, down, left, right?
Yes, it's the
Okay,
Konami
perfect.
code. The
All right,
Konami
good.
code that says no bad guys get murdered ever.
That gives them 30 lives though, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
But
who are the characters that we're seeing? Santa Claus, Liza Minnelli, fake Sebastian Stan.
You're seeing the Utopian, Lady Liberty, Paragon, and
Liza Minnelli.
and the daughter that I don't think
is
has
not a
superhero
superhero.
name.
Yeah,
She chose to be a model instead.
Is that the Lord Humongous wearing? She got that harness like Lord Humongous from.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But I don't remember her name. I've watched 2 episodes. I don't
it's
remember
like
her name.
Liza.
That wasn't Liza. It was close to that.
It's weird, man.
Yeah.
You told me earlier that you kind of see Mark Miller as like quite the edgelord nowadays, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
He writes edgy stuff for the sake of being edgy.
Yeah. There's a lot of shock value, but it like the only problem is like it's not shocking because I already finished watching Invincible.
Yeah,
and I've read a lot of other comics between now and 2005.
Sure, we've seen Wanted.
Exactly.
We've read Kick-Ass.
We've read Wanted even.
We read Wanted. Yeah, even better.
Yeah, it's a lot better. But yeah, I'm excited to see what else they could do, but I hope that they're better at modernizing. Like, because that's I think the appeal of The Boys, right? Is the Boys is like taken the comic and said and looked at the world that we live in now and said, how do we adapt these things to be more relevant to now?
I will say this: if you want to watch a superhero movie about the family dynamic or a superhero show, watch Superman and Lois. That's now also on streaming on HBO Max.
It's on HBO Max now, I was excited about that actually.
And because it's so good, and that's how to do it. How to do a family dynamic where there's issues, but they go through it, and where you care about the characters, not just because of Superman, but because it's so well written and so well acted. So it's like, I just remembered that, I wanted to plug that. Sorry, Jupiter's Legacy, but you're trying to do the family thing, but you just didn't pull it off.
I like the segue though, because you mentioned Superman, and our last piece of news that is not from Marvel, but it is from the Distinguished Competition. I just kind of found this one funny. I don't know how much you guys want to talk about it or not, but like, I found it hilarious that, a few months ago, Warner Brothers announced that they've got J.J. Abrams attached to a new Superman movie.
Oh, thank goodness.
They want to make this Superman black. I don't know that necessarily means that they want to make Kal-El black, or if they want to do Calvin Harris / Val Zod, which was an alternate Earth Superman that's black. I don't know the details because these are all rumors, but I do know that they got a lot of backlash for that. I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to be writing the movie, so that's good. But they got a lot of flack a few months ago because it came off as very tone deaf at the idea that J.J. Abrams might be helming the movie too, and nobody really wants to see that movie, right? So in lieu of the backlash,
and to which he has said no way.
They're now receiving backlash because they are officially scrambling to search for a director for their Black Superman, and the internet has exploded because of this. Which, by the way, I just want to point out, it's really funny because I mentioned earlier in the Marvel Phase 4 stuff that they're still looking for a director for Blade, the Blade movie next year. Apparently, Marvel and Warner Brothers are actually competing to find, a black director to fill that spot, which is really awkward because it's just really highlighting how few black directors we have out there in the pool.
Or maybe they just don't want to do a superhero
and I
movie.
bet none of them are female.
Probably right. You're probably right.
Maybe they don't want to do the movie though. Like, do we consider that? Or
I
don't think there's a problem with doing the movie.
No.
Like, do you really think Key and or Peel want to really do that movie? Like,
oh, you're saying the directors that want to do
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, okay, gotcha. Yeah. I totally see what you're saying.
I don't think there's a shortage. I'm not going to see Reggie Hudlin doing a Superman movie, or Robert Townsend or anything like
well, just like this whole media,
Tyler Perry's Superman.
Yeah, this whole spectacle is just bringing to light a lot of problems with the studios in general, right? Is that they do a lot of things because they think they're on paper they're the right thing to do.
Yeah,
but they don't really pay attention to, Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park. That's like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I'm not saying they shouldn't make this movie. I'm saying they should be thinking about the reasons why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Before saying this is the thing we got to do because Marvel's doing all these things, and it just goes to show, like, which is really funny because, I mentioned when we were talking about Blade last week that it's so awkward that those first 3 Blade movies are Warner Brothers movies because they were scrambling to find like a black character to develop into a franchise. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't understand. I never understand what Warner Brothers is doing all the time.
Warner Brothers doesn't understand what Warner Brothers is doing all the time.
Yeah.
I don't. It's funny watching Marvel have success with like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is, highlights racial inequalities like we've talked about, and then all of a sudden, like Warner Brothers are like, oh, we're gonna make a black Superman.
But they took their time and they saw the opportunity and they had the comic backup. I mean, the bigger risk was when they did Black Panther, and that really worked. But they also didn't rush to then make the next 3 movies all minority focused and such. It's like, make good movies, include diverse stories. Think about that. But if you start off with, we're going to make the most diverse movie we possibly can, and before we even have a story or an idea or a director or an actor, this is why they're running into those troubles.
We're saying Black Panther is the most diverse movie you possibly can make?
No.
Okay. Or you're saying that...
I'm not baiting you, Frank.
Okay, fair enough.
I am saying that it is a diverse movie.
You did say make a good movie first, though, right?
Yes. And two of us on this podcast think that Black Panther is a good movie. So
that's a shame. That's a shame. It's an all right movie. It's got a great villain.
This is why I wanted to have a softball for the question of the week this week, guys, because I was worried. But we do have a comment, and I just want to check Yep, there it is. That's exactly what I was thinking, which is Tikal Soda just said, what is happening right now? I'll tell you what's happening right now. We're switching subjects because Frank's turning into troll mode.
I would love to watch a Black Superman movie. You know why? Because I don't care about Superman's race. Like, honestly, I want to see Superman being a Superman. That's what I want to see. I want to see him saving people. I want to see him flying. I want to see him shooting little lasers out of his eyes. I want to see him upholding truth, justice, and the American way.
That's been dropped.
That's the gray area. But I want to see it's a bird, it's a plane. I want to see Superman, and I don't think just because he's black that would exclude him from being Superman.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we've had this conversation before, Dennis, about MJ when they potentially thought about casting a person of color as MJ in the newer Spider-Man movies, and we're like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. What does she have to be? She has to be beautiful, and she has to be Peter's love interest, right?
I would like her to have some red hair at some point. but I don't.
we said that. We did say that, but I mean, she kind of does have red hair in like certain lighting. I think it's the lighting.
No,
but I'm also annoyed at her because they weren't willing to commit. So she's actually named Michelle.
Because that's what I was about to say. She's not MJ. She's a different character. She's a great love interest, but she's not Mary Jane Watson.
But
it's a different character.
But that's because of the rights between Spider-Man. That's not because of that's from the rights of Sony, because they weren't allowed to use like the Osborns initially. They weren't allowed to use the Osborns. They weren't allowed to use MJ. They weren't allowed to use a couple other people.
Okay, nod to Sea Cow Soda because the Zendaya plus Tom Holland lip sync battle anniversary is amazing.
And it is today, and it's quite trending on social media right now. But I really do want to get to, since we mentioned Tom Holland and stuff, I do want to get to that, the subject that we have. But really quick before we go, we switch over to Spider-Man 3. Let's just throw out our question of the week. I think it's a short one, really quick.
A word from our sponsor, Yo Magic.
No, it's not that. The question of the week is, who is your favorite obscure Marvel character and why? I will start just to make this easier to give you guys time to answer this question. I love Stiltman. I was introduced to him, I don't know when in my youth, but I was really introduced to him in Frank Miller's Daredevil run when the character was replaced by Turk, who is this character that Daredevil just abuses throughout the whole story for like a year or two, like two years run. He's the guy that gives Daredevil all the information on the lowlifes in Hell's Kitchen. And one day Turk decides he's had enough of getting beat up by Daredevil, so he goes and steals Stiltman's suit, and he goes out and becomes the new Stiltman. And it is the stupidest thing ever, and I love it because like his whole gimmick is he just makes his legs grow really tall. Like that's it. You can't hide. You can't do anything with that power except see over people, I guess.
That's pretty good.
And it just amuses the crap out of me. I love him. So, Frank, do you want to go next? Who's yours?
Shoot, man. I don't know. There's so many obscure characters that I like.
All right, then Clark's going to go.
I think Obama from Amazing Spider-Man 583.
That's a good one. I don't know how obscure Obama is.
That's a great obscure character. No one's heard of that guy. I'm sorry. I'll answer for reals. Go ahead, Clarke. Go first.
Sleepwalker.
Oh, what?
Sleepwalker.
That's a pretty good one.
Fantastic one.
I thought back to my early reading days, and Spider-Man had a team up with the Hulk and Sleepwalker and Ghost Rider and stuff. And Sleepwalker is a character who can only come out when the human that he's bonded to is asleep. So the human has to nap for Sleepwalker to come out, and he's got super strength and can fly and like all these abilities. But if the alarm goes off, he literally fades right in the middle of battle, and it's just ridiculous.
It is quite ridiculous. I remember Sleepwalker quite well. That's a good pick. I like that one. That's a good one. Frank?
Probably, I want to say Dance Macabre, if you've never heard of that character. It's another, I think it's a Marvel team-up villain, but they have like mystical abilities, and she has like Sindel hair. But I think she fought Spider-Man and like made him dance and stuff. It's good stuff.
That's pretty deep cut there. That's pretty good.
Dance
I'm
Macabre.
impressed. I'm not super impressed because I know that's your whole thing, but I definitely don't know a Dance Macabre. So
also one of my favorite classical music compositions by Camille Saint-Saëns.
Dance Macabre.
Nice.
The Dance Macabre.
That was good. All right. I think it's time. We've kept people waiting long enough. All those people who are ravenous to get the latest in Spider-Man 3
all those
news.
person.
No, there's multiple people. I'm hitting the button. Here we go, guys. All right, we are revisiting Spider-Man 3. That is what we as a group chose. Just so you know, for everybody who is curious, in case we forget to get there later, next week we will be looking at Ghost Rider: Spirits of Vengeance. That is we're just torturing ourselves with sequels to old school movies. But today for this week we chose Spider-Man 3. That is the 2007 movie directed by Sam Raimi. It's the conclusion of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. I had an interesting time watching this, but I know there's a lot of people that may not remember everything. So we kind of put together a little slideshow presentation / recap to go with this. So I'm going to attempt to go through this while Clarke, you're in charge of the buttons. Here's the recap for everybody who has forgotten Spider-Man 3.
Nope, not doing it,
Frank. Everything is coming up Peter. He is killing it at school. Clarke's going to be doing the buttons, right?
I had to go to the right tab.
Okay, cool. He's dating Mary Jane, who's the star of a new Broadway show. They enjoy web hammock picnics in the park where weird alien goo falls from the sky and stows away on his motorbike, but that's probably nothing. What's important is that Aunt May gives him a ring to propose to MJ with. And to top it off, all of New York loves Spider-Man. Well, except maybe his best friend Harry. Blaming Peter for his dad's death, he attacks him as the new Goblin, only to sustain head trauma and amnesia, causing him to forget all of his troubles. So I guess that means everything is coming up, Peter. Enter escaped convict Flint Marko, currently on the run from the police. After visiting his sick daughter, he ducks into a particle accelerator experiment, like you do, turns into Sandman, goes on a crime spree, and even gives Spidey a whooping. Don't worry, though. Peter shakes off the sand, quite literally, and switches back to happy mode. See, the city is honoring him for saving aspiring model Gwen Stacy from a crane accident. She's also apparently his lab partner. It's just there's a lot of weird coincidence going on with Gwen. But it's not because they know each other. It's not awkward at all when they decide to kiss for show at the ceremony. Wait, I mean, actually, it's super awkward because MJ exists and is there in person to support Peter, even though she just got fired for sucking at Broadway. Also, Gwen's dad, the police captain, is probably there, and he just got done meeting her boyfriend, Eddie Brock. Coincidentally, Eddie is gunning for the new staff photographer spot at the Daily Bugle, putting him in direct competition with Peter, who suddenly wants the position since learning of it 5 seconds ago. Things start getting rough for Peter when his proposal blows up in his face. The alien in his bedroom forms a symbiotic attachment with him, increasing his aggression. Captain Stacy informs him that Flint Marko actually killed Uncle Ben. And Harry gets his memory back and forces MJ to dump Peter. Anyways, I guess, Jerk or Black Spider-Man, whichever one you want to call him, pisses off a lot of people, but in particular, Eddie Brock, who goes to church to pray that God kills Peter. Because that's, I guess, what you do.
That's Old Testament shit right there.
I guess. Luckily for him, Peter's up in the bell tower, ditching his evil suit, which jumps onto Eddie, giving him Peter's powers and knowledge. I guess they say the Lord works in mysterious ways, right? So this new character, Venom, and Sandman stage a boss battle using MJ as bait. With the help of faithful background manservant Bernard, Peter is able to squash his beef with Harry in order to defeat the villains through the power of teamwork. MJ is saved. Harry and Eddie die, though, so not a complete victory. As a consolation, we learn Flint killed Uncle Ben by accident, so I guess that's okay, right? And yeah, the end. That's pretty much the end of that movie.
My only criticism was that it's person of color Spider-Man now. You gotta get with the times.
Thanks. What do you guys think of that nice little recap? Did I miss a lot there other than person of color Spider-Man?
Yeah.
No, that was a good recap.
I think the other thing that we can say is that MJ exists, but only when Bryce Dallas Howard isn't on screen, because then she doesn't exist. Then she's got camouflage, like weird active camo.
Dude, Bryce Dallas Howard is in so many scenes of that movie. It is ridiculous. I kind of started thinking she was Mephisto.
Yep.
And then, of course, there's the fun part of where Bryce Dallas Howard is a redhead who had to dye her hair blonde to play the blonde Gwen Stacy. And then
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst, who is blonde, had to dye her hair red to play MJ.
I would not have minded at all if they were switched. That would have been amazing. I want to see that. I want to peer into that world. My viewfinder.
Do you think Bryce Dallas would have been a better Gwen Stacy?
No. I'm saying,
or I mean, Mary Jane is what I mean.
Yes, but in this world, in my viewfinder, Gwen Stacy does die after a couple of movies, and then what's her name's just Bryce Dallas Howard swoops in, and actually she goes past Spider-Man, and she goes for this new character named Frank, who's also Peter Parker's lab partner, and they have lots of babies. It mostly focuses on them making the babies. So I've got a Letterboxd review pulled up. I'm going to read the first Letterboxd review of Spider-Man 3. Okay. This film reminds me of that fat dead guy in 7. You know, the one who gets force-fed so much food that his stomach bursts? Yeah, this film is exactly that.
The gluttony guy?
Yeah, the gluttony guy.
Do you agree with that?
I do agree that it is jam-packed.
I would say until Amazing Spider-Man 2 took the gluttony thing and made it even worse. So there's absolutely, this was overstuffed, and mostly because of studio requirements. You know, Avi Arad saying you're putting Venom in because he's the most popular character right now. And Sam Raimi didn't like Venom. Sam Raimi does, he's old school Spider-Man. And so he had to shoehorn him in, and then he eventually started liking him a little later. But yeah.
Ben Kingsley was cut as the Vulture.
Yeah.
I also read that Malkovich was in the running to play the Vulture also.
Yeah.
At a point. And I thought that would have been cool too. I wouldn't mind it either, actually.
Yeah.
At the time, they thought they were going to go on and do Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6. And so Raimi did have plans for future
I would hope so, just based on the lizard alone. Just the fact that poor man is in 3 movies with one arm. Like, the actor has 2 arms. And they required that actor to play somebody with one arm for 3 movies.
They would have so Billy D. Williams him and recast when it was time for him to be the main villain.
They do have the storyboards of Billy D. Williams with the Two-Face outfit.
Mm-hmm.
So like somebody wanted him as Two-Face at one point. It was probably Billy D. that drew those and put those on his desk.
Yes, he drew them all.
But and what's funny is that for Spider-Man 4, if you read that leaked circulated script, I don't know how much you believe that, but the Lizard wasn't even in that one either. So he would have gone 4 movies without being the Lizard.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I felt like the character playing Kurt Connors was just like that guy in every sitcom where you just go there to get help from him because he's like the easy exposition, right? He's like the easy way to explain that the symbiote is, potentially bad.
Yep.
Because apparently as a storyteller, he couldn't just do that.
And he's colleagues with Doc Ock in the second one too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he just kind of like you were talking about the degrees of people from Peter Parker, and he was like in the mix right there.
Yeah. Gwen's in his class.
Everybody in this movie at the beginning of the movie is no more than 2 degrees of separation away from Peter Parker.
Yeah.
By the end of it, they're all 1 degree. Like he just knows them all. He knows the only actors that Peter never encounters in this movie are Sandman's family.
Does he encounter Bernard Houseman?
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah. He sees Bernard. He's there, like
Okay.
in a scene with Peter. It's too much. It's too much. Like it's way too much, Toby. And on top of that, this is back in the day, and I say back in the day, like 1 year before Iron Man and The Dark Knight came out. This is back when actors felt they needed to have their face shown a bunch, even if they're wearing Spider-Man's mask.
I'm getting into that later. You want to get into that now?
Yeah, but
that's one of my big points.
That is the best scene in this movie, hands down. Like that opening fight scene with him and the Goblin. That's amazing. That's an amazing fight scene in any of the movies.
I wasn't even referring to that one.
I know, but I'm saying
I was referring to the convenient tearing on his mask that always happens. So
that happens in all three movies. But yeah. So it's kind of unfair to bring it up in this movie. You can bring it up all you want. I don't care what you bring up.
It's a problem with all three of them. I have.
It's just a sign of the times. People like Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving was amazing because he never showed his face as V.
Or Carl Urban.
Carl Urban played V.
No, in Judge Dredd.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He didn't take the helmet off. He
that
wasn't
until later, right? That was until after 2010, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying pre 2010, pre 20.
Oh, that's fair.
Oh wait, yeah. But that fight scene when Peter Parker is not Spider-Man is awesome. And I know I always say I always want people to be suited up, but I think that scene was pretty sick. The scene was pretty cool. Well, it showed the stakes. It laid the stakes out immediately.
Yeah.
While we're on that positive note, tell me what else you liked, because I want to hear the positive.
Sure. The end. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Do you want me to go? I was gonna say, do you want me to go first, or do Clarke?
I think let's let Clarke go first, because I want to. I think his list is shorter.
Okay, so first off, the Sandman creation scene. That scene where he's bringing himself together and learning how
really well.
It so holds up, and I learned that they actually used real sand for that's not CGI. There's not like computer generated sand. They molded sand and they did all this stuff to make it really look real. But I mean, that's a cinematic masterpiece scene. The music, the camera angles, it is like a monster creation, and that's always been good. And the Sandman has always been by far one of my favorite parts of this. Thomas Hayden Church just nailed it. He nailed that character, and I wanted to see more. Like yes, he looked exactly like him. The costume was perfect. He put on 25 pounds of muscle for that. I mean, I will sing the praises of him in this movie forever. But that creation scene was fantastic. Another thing that I really liked that you allude to is Harry's journey. Because it has gone through all three films, and to finally have to finally learn the whole thing about the history of his dad, but also like the pressures that he would have and going crazy, good Harry, bad Harry. Mm-hmm. And I read the Green Goblin that I read as a kid was Harry Osborn. This is before they brought Norman back. And so it was all these stories of Harry, and it was so traumatizing for Peter, because here's his best friend who's also one of his worst enemies. And I think this handled that well. Just like you were saying, Frank, that first fight was amazing. Going into my last one, the special effects in this were top notch. I mean, those fight scenes where Spidey is flinging through debris, and the crane scene where he's webbing things out of the way and everything. Just the special effects in this film were stunning and still really held up. So I really enjoyed the action scenes, and then those parts definitely in the rewatch.
There's a little weirdness on the blending of them, but I get that's Father Time showing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would have to agree that I was most happy watching all the Spider-Man action, and like you were mentioning, watching Harry and Peter be bad. For me, like Harry. So just to be clear, James Franco, I never watched Freaks and Geeks before Spider-Man 1, 2, or 3. I watched it later in life, like in the 2000 12s or something like that, 12 or 13.
Wow, that's way later.
Yeah, it's way later.
Oh.
I watched it on like Hulu or Netflix or something like that. So this was actually my first introduction to James Franco, but I knew a lot of people were excited about James Franco back in the day for being in the movies. And like, I honestly felt like he was kind of like a background like character in the first two movies a lot. Like, I mean, he has parts and stuff, you know, but like, he just didn't do anything in those first two movies, you know, very significantly to my recollection.
He grew a bit in the second one.
Yeah, he grows a little bit when he finds out, you know, about his dad and stuff like that. But the fulfillment of him getting to like actually, you know, have agency and start doing things and taking action because he's angry and he has all these feelings and stuff. And then, man, that pie scene is just so iconic. Like, like I just never get tired of it. It's so good. But also like seeing Peter be bad too is it just amuses the crap out of me. As much as I know a lot of people in the world do not like that. I enjoy every moment of it.
I swung around to it a little more in this, especially when he hits MJ. And then I was like, you know what? This really showed how much Venom was bringing out his bad side. And
because
I'm like,
you want to believe that Peter would never do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, this time, this watch, I was more on board for that part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you wanted to see Kirsten Dunst take a wallop. Is that what it was?
No, but I know you were talking to me about that earlier today, Frank, how that part still feels wrong to you. But I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is that it does feel wrong to you, right? Like that that's exactly the desired result, is that was a line crossed. So I like that.
It's kind of hard to come back from that line. That kind of goes into all the things that I like about it. Do you want me to start with that, or did you guys have more that you want to talk about?
You can go for it. Tell us what you like.
A lot of the things is that it did feel like a trilogy. Like pretty much every thread kind of wrapped up. They kind of, you know, said goodbye to Uncle Ben for the last time. That guy, he never stopped showing up after he died.
Well, like that was his last film too.
Was it Cliff Robertson?
Cliff Robertson died after this film, so yeah.
That's a kind of a sad.
Sorry.
Well, no, I love Spider-Man 3. That's one of my. It's not my favorite Spider-Man. It's probably like my fifth favorite Spider-Man movie now. But like, I mean, for a while it was like my second favorite Spider-Man. Like I liked the second one. I liked the third one. I thought those were really good because they rounded out the characters. Everyone got an arc completed. And even MJ, who a lot of people talk about how she's like the ultimate like wish fulfillment kind of fantasy character. She had an arc. I mean, they showed a little bit of her abuse and like how she kind of latched onto Peter and his loving and nurturing nature, his good nature, where she's come from like a house of like violence where she's getting yelled at all the time and getting told that she's no good and stuff like that. And I thought it wrapped up her arc neatly. And even within the just the movie itself, if you just watch Spider-Man 3 in a vacuum, it wraps up her arc neatly because she has a wish that she wants to be seen on stage by the person that she loves, and she gets that. She gets that at the end. Like Peter's watching her on stage singing. It's probably not the stage that she envisioned, but I mean their love and their journey hasn't been what she envisioned either, and it works. It works for the movie.
But I also like where you're leading into is like, it doesn't end the way she thought it would, right? But like the ending itself is not the happy ending that I think moviegoers want. It's an ending. It's a real ending, though, you know. So
that too, and that's a lot because of like kind of one of the central themes that I really liked about it is that all the good guys in the movie aren't so good, and all the bad guys in the movie aren't so bad. It's like it's kind of like a give and take. Like everything's like a yin yang. It's like the white swirly with the black dot and the black swirly with the white dot. Like, and it's really interesting to see that play out in a time where movies. This is 2007. This is pre Iron Man, like you said, pre Dark Knight. It's interesting to see a high budget comic book movie at that time try to tackle a subject like that. Sure, they didn't nail every single point 100% accurately, but like I appreciate that theme for its time. And looking back, I still appreciate that theme. Looking back, it's probably a little harder to watch, only because other movies have done it a lot better. Like they've tackled that theme a lot better.
Just a little bit of trivia to go off that comment, and this is just a trivia point that I thought I just liked. The Russian translation of the title of the film was Spider-Man 3: Enemy in the Reflection.
Ooh,
which I really like, and it's very much like you just said, how everybody's enemy was in the mirror looking, and you saw that with Harry, you saw that with MJ, you saw that with Peter, you saw it with everybody. And I saw that and I'm like, that is a really good title.
Yeah. Well, and that's also part of the theme that I was getting to too. Like Eddie Brock is like a dark mirror version of Peter. Like I understand like comic book accuracy would have been like, he could bench like 600 pounds before he got the suit, he was already strong beforehand. And, but this one chose to make him like, be like Peter, but he didn't have the benefit of an Aunt May or an Uncle Ben. So he kind of took a different path. It's like a Peter that kind of veered off. And that's why he and Venom bonded so well together, because their mutual dislike for Peter. Yeah. And it was a really interesting take on the character, I thought. I still got more positives, but I know you look like you wanted to say something, Dennis.
Oh, I was. If you still got more positives, it's cool. I was about to go into the. Let us get into the negatives just for time purposes, but I would like to hear some more. But I was gonna agree with what Clarke was saying, is like the whole thing with how Eddie was represented might not have been the way we wanted it to be. But on paper, as a script, it really does look like everything was, would have been great. Like everything on paper, like that they did in this movie could have worked. It's just certain ways that it was executed just kind of made things weird for us. You know what I mean? Okay. So like,
let me jam through my positives and then we can get to the negatives. Because I do have negatives. I realize that it's not a bad movie. It's closer to a guilty pleasure for me. But I think the other positives real quick are the action. The action sequences were pretty good. Like it showed like the disparity of Spider-Man gets beat up in the comic books all the time. Spider-Man and Daredevil probably get beat up more than any other superhero. And it shows him like totally, taking a whooping, and usually someone kind of helps him out at the end. Like Spider-Man is always getting help, and that's been something that's shown in the movies.
For the record, there's been 5 Robins.
In the first 2 movies, it was New Yorkers that helped him. Even the Crane Guild in the Amazing Spider-Man helped out that Parker. So it was really cool to see him get help. He takes a beating, he needs help, he gets the help. It's really cool. It's cool to see people kind of giving back to the hero that gave to them. And then the effects were amazing for their time. I'll admit, like you said, the Sandman sequence. The symbiote sequence, the symbiotes look cool. It looked pretty cool. Like when it was like, off and then back on. It was cool. That was neat for its time. The black suit looked great. Like I like the way, I like the pattern. I like the way, okay. Subjectively, that was great. Bruce Campbell is always good. Bruce Campbell's pretty much good in everything. He chews scenery.
I love that he was helpful in this one. The first 2, he was like, he was like but then this one, he was totally on Peter's side, and I'm like, that was a fun little twist.
I'm sorry though, but like, no French restaurant requires you to speak French in America. No. Okay, like I found him to be quite annoying at the beginning, but yes, I came around.
And then aside from that, J. Jonah Jameson, always great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but I felt like he was underutilized in this movie. More than any of them. Yeah.
That'll go into my my negatives. Like we talked about a little earlier.
Like when I was putting together that whole slide thing, I was bummed because I didn't get a picture of him, but like he doesn't really fit in the movie like the way everybody else does. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of just there in the peripheral, like he serves this weird subplot where they're both competing for a job that's honestly never really resolved, other than Peter finds out that Eddie's a fraud. Like, I don't know why that needed to happen. I don't know why Eddie had to be a fraud
to get him fired, I guess. But also
that is the comic origin of Venom.
But it's also
Yeah.
to show how he's bad, how he took a bad turn. He took a quick and easy path.
That's
and Peter
fair.
wouldn't have taken.
Eddie had to be humiliated and lose his job, and that's why he hates Spider-Man.
Yeah. I understand. You know, you can hate somebody for taking the job that you got without being totally evil too. But you know, it's fine. I'm okay with him being a bad guy.
Peter also can't have good things happening to him. Not too many good things.
But let's switch over to the negatives, starting with a question that Ricky asked, which is thoughts on Bryce Dallas Howard. That goes in the negative pile for me. This character added nothing to this movie. Like I hated her the entire time. I feel like she had to have signed some sort of devil's pact to be in as many scenes as she was in this movie, and to be as important as she was in so many scenes. It just made no sense. And if she is dating Eddie, why are you kissing Spider-Man in front of everybody?
She made it pretty clear that she wasn't really invested in that relationship.
That,
or at least
I guess so.
As he
she
was.
Did dump him as soon as he lost his job, which makes her an awful human being too. You know what I mean?
No, that sucks. I hate when people don't have jobs. When my partner doesn't have a job, it sucks.
Yeah, but you don't dump them.
You don't dump them.
Yeah, I don't dump them, or my wife doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I found her completely unlikable through the whole movie. Like there was just nothing about her. Like and the way Peter regarded her too was like, oh, she's not very good. She's not. I mean, the beginning of the movie showed she was pretty good. So
she's just a girl in my class.
Yeah, why are you dumping on her, Peter? I don't know. And then I
think Olga got a better. She got a better part in the movie than Mary Jane did.
And how long did it take her to realize that dancing in front of Mary Jane might not have been the best move, like ever? You know, just. So that's your answer, Ricky. Thanks for tuning in.
She's not as bright as Emma Stone.
I'm gonna agree with you. The whole Stacey's didn't need to be in here. No. I mean, none of that needed to be in. That was again just padding the movie with more characters, and it weren't necessary.
Those two were two of the least necessary characters in the entire movie. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure your negatives are going to line up with mine because I agree. I wrote on my paper stuffed because that movie is stuffed full of things that didn't have to be there.
Yeah. I will say, because you were mentioning how much you love that Venom suit, or no, sorry, the black suit. Yeah. I hated the fact that they couldn't just find a way to incorporate any white into it at all. Just any bit of white, just white eyes, like white.
I'm fine with it.
White.
I want to see the pre-production designs that I know they had to try. I really wish they had an art book, because now I love collecting art books because of exactly these questions. Sure, I would love to see all the different takes they had on Venom. They had to have tried it with white. Yeah, I miss it.
The striking simplicity of the costume from the comics is that it's black and white. You know what I mean? Like it's not black. It's not just black. It's in the comics. It's a lot of white too. You know what I mean? So
it's a big white spider.
It's a big white spider that wraps around both sides of him, and his eyes are huge or small depending on who's drawing them. But
I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it because I think if it were in the Amazing Spider-Man universe, then I would want a big white symbol on it. Because of this universe, like I'm fine with it being a mirror because, like Clarke had said, the Russian title, and because of all the parallels in the movie with people's origins, I'm fine with it just being a dark parallel.
That's a negative though. It's a negative reflection, right? Is if you take all the red and make it black, and then you take all the black and make it white. Then
what do you do with the blue? Nothing. You make it black. Okay, yeah.
Make it black.
That falls apart. That just fell apart right now.
Well, it doesn't have to fall apart. You make the blue white if you want. I don't know. Like
I think it's fine. I personally think it's fine. It's fine to disagree. It doesn't have to be exactly comic accurate, in my opinion.
Well, I mean,
the goblin wasn't
to begin with.
None of the goblins were comic accurate.
Spider-Man's not comic accurate either.
Spider-Man's not comic accurate. Yeah. So I don't see the only person in the movie that was comic accurate was Sandman, I think. Right?
Yeah.
And Aunt May.
I mean,
yeah, Aunt May. Yeah, Rosemary Harris
Venom has white eyes.
Yeah.
Does he have a white spider?
Venom has white eyes. I'm just
But
saying.
he doesn't have a white spider.
they
He's
did
got,
give
but
him-
he's got white.
So he's
got
not
white on
comic
it.
accurate then, right?
No, but he's more comic accurate than Peter when he's wearing the black
Yeah,
suit.
but what we're saying is no one in this movie is comic accurate except for Rosemary Harrison, Sandman. That's it. So why are you putting an expectation on everyone?
I just wanted more color, is what I'm saying. Just a little bit more color.
And that's fine, but yeah.
It's not. I'm not asking it to be comic accurate. I never said that. I said I wanted white. I wanted some white there, like white eyes. Like even Tom Hardy's Venom looks better than this Venom.
Sure.
I don't love it because it's missing something really huge on it, but it's missing a big white spider on the chest.
Missing a lobster tank that he can jump into.
Yes. But anyways, you guys go with your negatives because I don't have as many as you would think.
Go for it, Clarke.
Okay. So I'm going to get back to the masks part. No, we had sort of talked about how, yes, this probably was agent run, but like every time somebody talks, they have to take the mask off. And like there's the convenient blowing off half the mask that happened in all the movies. There's that. But then there's I need to say a line, then put the mask back on.
Gotta go.
And then, and like when he swings up for the Spider-Man day from the angle that he's supposed to be coming in, and he has his mask off just so everyone can see the big smile on his face. I'm like, what? You really think there's not a single camera that's already pointed in the direction Spider-Man's going to supposedly swinging in?
I never saw a single cell phone in that entire movie.
Nope.
Yeah, they didn't have cell phones in that universe.
In 2007.
Different universe.
Mm-hmm.
They were using rotary payphones.
Yeah, rotary payphones.
Actually, wait. No, Mary Jane has a cell phone.
Oh, she does. She does. Yeah. So does
right. You're
actually,
right.
So does Harry.
Yeah.
I think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Peter's the super thing, but
he can't afford a cell phone.
It's even with Venom when he's talking with Sandman, he did like one line and then it went back to have Topher Grace's face and then back. And then when he speaks, it was it wasn't the we, but I'm fine with that, but it just, in this movie, it just really, really noticed that anytime there was dialogue, they took the mask off. And Amazing Spider-Man sort of did that too, but that's one of the things that I love about the Tom Holland Spider-Man is that they were able, because they already had they already had the Iron Man concept of talking inside a helmet and having someone to talk to. So by having, what's the name of his AI in the first one?
Karen.
So by having Karen to talk to, like it allowed him to kind of keep them out. I loved that. But so that was one of the things. And then I know, yes, that was because the agents want their actors to have their faces shown, but it still annoyed me because it was, they took it to way too many degrees. The other is Topher Grace casting. Now I'm saying this as different from skinny guy Venom casting, because as we learned, yes, they were trying to do the mirror of Peter. So in the original comics, the Venom symbiote is part of the storyline is that it directly enhances proportionally the strength of the host, which is why Eddie is the super bodybuilder, and that's how he gets stronger. I'll let that slide now. Back when I first saw it, I didn't let that slide. I will now let that slide now. But I still have a problem with Topher Grace in the casting. He doesn't do it.
It'll work for some people and it won't work for others. But
I actually totally do not mind Topher Grace. I mind his freaking teeth. Like,
why does he have like Wolverine?
I don't
know
why he's got jacked up teeth after the Venom bonds with him. Like, it didn't do any of that to Peter. Like, it just, yeah. I mind aesthetic choices with him, but I don't think he was directed badly, and I think his cheese fits in line with a lot of the cheese that Sam Raimi delivers throughout that whole movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's a lot of cheese.
A lot of
And
cheese,
Sam,
man.
that's Sam Raimi though. That's
Yes,
how.
yes.
That's how it rolls.
I honestly think for having to deal with a crappy character that he was handed that he didn't want to deal with, I generally hate Venom as a character. So if you're handed it and said you got to make this fit in the story, there are ways it could have been better, but like I don't really hate.
I mean, I feel bad that he left that 70s show for this movie, and then his movie career didn't go anywhere because this role
he was
sucked.
in this movie. Yeah,
because he was in this movie.
He
left
movie
his
still made a lot of
show.
money.
He's in Traffic.
This movie was the highest grossing Spider-Man until Far From Home.
No,
it was Sony's.
Actually,
it was Sony's highest grossing movie until Skyfall.
Yeah, it was 895 million worldwide that it made. Yeah,
it just was critically, or not critically, but
and isn't that amazing?
The fans kind of panned it.
The fans panned it, and even though it was their most successful, it killed the Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6. I mean that died for creative reasons and such. But
and Tobey Maguire now works at Arby's. And he'll never make another movie.
Do you guys think that Toby looks like a young Sam Raimi?
I didn't until you pointed it out earlier.
Gosh, I can kind of see that.
He does.
The only reason I noticed it is because Sam Raimi squeezed in so many Raimis into that movie. There are multiple Raimi children.
And the kids. Yeah.
There's multiple Raimi children in that movie. And I started noticing their facial features, and I'm like, they kind of look like they could be Toby's kids too. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, hey, he does look like Toby.
And then you're all like, wait, Toby's never had sex.
Yeah.
And that's when you pieced it together.
Oh no, that's Peter. That's Peter.
Oh yeah, Peter. Yeah, he's definitely never had sex.
So the last big one that I had was the revisiting Ben's death. I did not think that, like we were saying with the connections, I don't think you had to connect the Sandman to that, although they had to have a reason for Peter to hate the Sandman to go after him in dark Peter mode. But I didn't like that part. I felt that more so because
it would have been great if he accidentally killed Gwen.
Whoops.
Yes.
In the first act of the movie, that was amazing.
He does like a Casey Jones.
Yeah, I felt that took away from the Sandman's character and from his story, and he had that story about wanting to save his daughter, and again, you see his family, then you never do for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But that was just again part of the bloat and the 1 degree of separation from Peter. So
I do disagree with that point, but I know Dennis and I have talked about it today during our preliminary talk about this, and I do see it as a detriment because of the bloat, like you mentioned. But I do think it was important, especially in light of the new Spider-Man movies, retroactively thinking about it. I think it's important because Spider-Man didn't have a connection with his villains in the newer movies. And I feel like it's important to have a direct connection for Peter Parker and Spider-Man to both have a direct connection to his villains with this trilogy in particular. This trilogy is the only one I'm saying in particular that it should have it.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like, does he need to have a connection with all 3 that are in the movie?
Sure. Yes. Absolutely.
Can't he develop a connection with Sandman through the movie?
No.
Can't he develop one?
I don't think he could. I don't think he could, honestly, because all of them he had a connection with them before he was Spider-Man. He had a connection with Harry and into Harry's dad before he was Spider-Man. Well, I guess Doc Ock he was already Spider-Man, but
he also had a connection to them becoming that character too.
True.
And in this, Sandman just trips and falls into a freaking experiment, and they're done with it.
Sure, but he also tripped and shot some dude.
And by the way, what exactly was the freaking experiment? Because they're just experiment's done.
They were like, oh, it's probably a bird.
It'll fly away.
You want to stand up and maybe check?
But after it was done, they're just was it a success? Did you plan to turn sand into sand, or
I love how there's not a single camera in the pit
Nope,
Yeah.
nope.
Watching this guy form out of the sand.
Yeah. For me,
they're
I
not
think
paid enough to stand up and look if there's a bird that flew in there.
For me, that's I think the problem with the argument that from my perspective is like I like that Peter is connected to the characters.
But Peter didn't have a direct connection to Norman becoming the Green Goblin either. That was Green Goblin's own hubris and his humiliation with being forced out of his company and losing his contracts with the military. So Peter didn't do that unless he just knew Norman.
He didn't do that, but like he was he was definitely somebody that Norman already hated before. You know, he didn't like Peter before, or did he? Or did
he loved Peter.
No. It's the reverse. It's the reverse.
Yeah.
Sorry, he liked Peter. He didn't like his own son.
And I think that was one of the best parts about the character, was showing how the Goblin changed him, to being someone that could do that to somebody that he loved as a son.
Yeah.
And again, as we were talking about the negative mirror sides, because that's totally the Goblin. Those scenes are the best where he's looking at himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna argue this point anymore.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Because you lost. Because you lost.
No, argument. I'm not losing. It's because I'm looking at the clock, and it's not about winning or losing, Frank.
Because the clock says you lost the argument.
No. I really don't believe that, but it's fine. What I do want to ask, before we cut this show soon, is based on what we've seen here with these and all the Spider-Man movies and the rumors that Doctor Strange and the multiverse might be introducing the multiverse for real into the Spider-Man universe as well. Similar to Into the Spider-Verse. There's a lot of rumors that Tobey might be in the next movie. What do you guys want to see? What is your prediction for a Spider-Verse that might have Tom Holland and Tobey? I know it definitely has Alfred Molina
and Jamie Foxx, right?
And
Andrew Fox, and maybe Andrew Garfield.
No, Andrew is not confirmed at all.
He actually said in an interview.
And maybe Andrew.
No. Well, he said in an interview. They asked him point blank in the interview
this week. Yeah, this week he said he is not in that movie.
He said he wasn't in there. He could be a liar.
Sorry. He said he's never been asked. Is what he said.
He's never. He was really particular about his wording. He said he never got a phone call.
Yeah.
I'm clearly putting him in the maybe, but I mean, come on.
Yeah. But anyways, what do you guys think? What do you want from Tobey if you get one more chance with Tobey in that suit?
I don't want Tobey if we don't get Garfield. Like I'm not even a Garfield fan, but I want them both, or I don't want them at all.
I'm gonna agree with you on that.
Wow. Okay.
I'll agree with you on that. If you're doing it, do it. Do the multiverse, and I hope they do. I really, really do hope they do, because it was fun. And you're right. The question is, how much of them do you want them in this movie? Because it can't be like the older Peter and Miles Morales relationship that goes throughout Into the Spider-Verse. But if you have them only for a few scenes. Yeah, what's it going to be, and is it going to be?
That's what I'm asking you. What is the scene that would pull at your heartstrings to have Tobey, and if you have to have Andrew Garfield? What is the thing that would?
Here's the scene. We have two villains. One villain's getting the better. Or no, three villains. One villain's getting the better. Peter, he's punching Tom Holland. Tom Holland, his mask is ripping off in two pieces, and you can kind of see his face. And then all of a sudden, two portals open, and they're all like, "On your left, Tom Holland." And then like, boom, boom, two Spider-Man come out, and then they just jump on the other guys.
So the most superficial thing ever.
The most superficial thing ever. Give me everything. Give me the most superficial thing.
You don't want anything.
I want him to swing it to tell him, marry MJ before she starts falling in love with a different guy in every subsequent movie.
See, that's better. That's actually more in line with what I was trying to get out of you guys. Was like, I think if he comes back, I hope that he does something to embrace not only the goodwill that those three movies built, but also acknowledge the bad too. You know what I mean? Like, I would love it through a joke or through something that makes us remember and feel those 6 hours that we went on a journey with him. Like they can do it. I believe in Marvel Studios that they can make us feel a connection to Toby.
I have exactly what I want now. Since you said that, I have exactly what I want. I want, if they're swinging together, they're doing something. I want Tom Holland to make a joke that's actually funny because he is an actually funny Spider-Man, and have Toby go, "Whoa, you're way better at that than I am." Because his Spidey quips sucked. The best one was from the first one was, "Hey, Gobby."
That is a bad quip.
I don't know.
Sucked at Spidey quips.
What do you? He was all like, "That's a nice outfit. Did your husband make it for you?"
Oh, Frank,
that's a great quip. That's a great homophobic quip.
See, I agree with Clarke. I would like him to acknowledge something like that.
Much like a lot of passing of the torch movies or like super hyper feminist movies, like you don't need to crap on the things that came before it in order to elevate it. He would totally be crapping on it.
No, just in your version in your head, he's crapping on it. But we're not asking him to crap. We're just saying like embrace the good with the bad, because that's the charm of those three movies, especially the third one, which is why it's so divisive, right? There's a lot of stuff that we end up arguing about. I mean, look at this. We've been arguing about this movie for like 13 years, dude. Like, it's obviously it's not a perfect movie. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that out of a perfect or out of a not so perfect movie, we did get a pretty damn good Spider-Man for the time. You know what I mean? Like at that time, there was nobody that we wanted more than Toby. In hindsight, I don't like Toby anymore. Like I really don't. But that's an opinion that's grown over with age. So I would like to be reminded somehow of like why I did like Toby back then. So I think they can do it. And honestly, I liked Andrew Garfield better than Toby. So
I think looks wise, Andrew Garfield fit the bill better.
And he sounded like a New Yorker.
Yeah, and he sounded like a New Yorker. Spider-Man doesn't have blue eyes actually in the comic books. He has brown eyes, or hazel eyes sometimes. So he definitely looked the part, and he was taller and lankier. He had that kind of that Bagley kind of Spider-Man build.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I could extract those answers out of you. It was a hard one to try and get, but I wanted it because we
had to talk a little bit, and then
But I want the superficial, because we don't get the superficial nowadays. Nowadays, we get these deep cuts and talks about racial inequalities and female grief and stuff. Like,
I'm going to fully agree. Also, though, with Frank, that I do want all three of them to punch somebody at the same time, or like super web them.
Yeah,
I want the superficial too. I'm going to say that as well. Having there's a in the Horrible Clone Saga, there's this great scene though when the two of them are finally able to beat Venom, because nobody can beat two Spider-Men working in sync. So imagine like with three, with their spider senses all working together, and with their super agilities, man, that would be awesome. See them take on somebody.
Yeah. It'd be like Into the Spider-Verse.
That was 2 seconds away. I was gonna say, like, it was totally awesome.
It was
absolutely
awesome.
You are
my favorite
absolutely
Spider-Man
correct.
movie ever.
You are 100% correct, and I want to see that live action.
Cool.
Yep. Yes.
Well, I promise we do have a lot more to talk about on this and other stuff for the week. That's gonna have to go in the soapbox tonight, which you can go check out at patreon.com/DenXmedia. But for now, we have to say goodbye. So I just want to give Clarke a thanks for joining us to fill in for Ricky. I also want to thank Frank for bringing all the fun as well and running the news slideshows for us. Clarke, do you have anything that you would like, anywhere you'd like people to find you? I know Frank never has an answer for that.
Yeah, you can look for me on SoundCloud at Cranewave, CRANEWAVE at SoundCloud.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're going to head off to do the soapbox. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thanks for the people who had questions, comments, and thanks for Ricky for showing up just to ask us about Bryce Dallas Howard, because he always has to.
She was pregnant.
She was
when she was filming and didn't know it.
During my fanfic too. That's weird.
All right, we're taking off. Thanks for tuning in to Den Excelsior. Nuff said.
Enough said.
Yes. And there you go.